Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Pivoting to Web3 podcast. And today I have a real gem. I've got something exciting I could not say no to. I had an opportunity and they said yes, so I had to go with it. And that is Mr. Beejel Parmar. He is the CEO of BeeEPiC Outsourcing, and they are using AI in their business like I have never seen before with virtual assistants. So I could not walk away from the opportunity to delve into that with Bijal. Bijal, now from what I understand, you have been in this business 10 years, but you started off with 3 virtual assistants. You're a speaker globally in masterminds, major events. I mean, you're just everywhere. I even saw you at CES. So at the end of the day, I know you're an invaluable person to have as a guest on Pivoting to Web3. So give us some insight on how you went or even got to virtual assistants with 3, and then 10 years later, you have hundreds. You've got more than anyone would have imagined back then. So give us some insight, Bijal. Introduce yourself to the world.
Yeah, first of all, Donna, thank you so much for having me on the show. So let's just go back in time real quick. I jumped into the entrepreneurial journey in about year 2000. I'm from the UK. I'd moved to Chicago. I was working for an engineering company. And about the year 2000, decided to step into this world of entrepreneurship. And then to cut a very long story short, the next 10 years was really a roller coaster experience, more like a turbulent, we choose to get on a roller coaster, but sometimes entrepreneurship is more like a turbulence where things just hit you out of left field. So we had moved to San Diego at the time, and we struggled for literally a decade. In 2010, I picked 2009 actually. I picked up the book The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, and I had been doing personal development. I've been reading the books on business and stuff, but the one thing I never had quite figured out is why was I struggling. What it really came down to was we have a natural tendency to avoid doing certain things, right? And if you're not willing to delegate those certain things, we might think the next best thing to do is change the business, thinking that a new business is going to be better, shinier, opportunity. What I realized was that it doesn't really matter what business vehicle we choose. What drives almost most businesses is what I call the morbid work: mundane, overwhelming, repetitive, boring, I don't want to, and dislike doing. These are the things that so many entrepreneurs do not want to do. They leave their corporate jobs to get away from that. But they realize that what drives businesses is the same kind of work. That's where the Tim Ferriss book really opened my eyes up to how do we leverage a global workforce. A lot of entrepreneurs don't simply have the budgets to hire localized team members, right? And so today we live in a time where we can literally hire somebody from any part of the world to help us with our business. So that's part of us. So this all took place around 2009, 2010. After reading the book, I found 3 VAs in the Philippines. I started a very small company. Literally a few weeks later, I was at an event and I met somebody who had a larger agency. They had about 100 people when I met them. Anyway, long story short, I started working with them. I helped scale that business over 10 years from 100 to over 500 VAs. And then in 2019, December, I decided to basically part ways and reinvent or disrupt the industry. See, what most people want, they don't want to pay the high markup fees when it comes to hiring VAs. Typically, most agencies have a 2 to 5 times markup, which means that, and I'll use it from round numbers here, if somebody's paying $10 per hour, pretty likely the VA is getting paid $2, $2.50, maybe $3 per hour, right? So agencies are making the bulk of that money. And I said, there has to be a better way. So I created a model where basically, business owners, entrepreneurs could hire VAs directly, but yet both the client and the VAs get the ongoing support that they need to make it a more successful relationship. So we vet the VAs. We basically have built a community of VAs in the Philippines in 2 cities, well, 1 city, and now we're building a 2nd city. So that's kind of basically how we got into it, what we do, how it's different. And so it's been a long journey.
So with that journey, I want to delve into it just a little bit further. only because our audience really needs to understand. When you said you scaled up, and how were you using the AI with the VAs currently? Were they up for it? Did they understand it? Were they nervous about it? Give us a little bit more detail on just how that happened with new technology that everybody's scared of.
Yeah, so kind of, the shift really started happening in January of 2023. I attended, so ChatGPT always, was making the noise, right? Back in December, January of last year. But in January of 2023, I attended the first ever, I believe, ChatGPT live workshop. It was a 3-day workshop, and they were teaching, different elements of ChatGPT. And remember, this is very early on. But
Yeah, because
back
there
then,
was a book
immediately,
you had that I was looking for that I couldn't find, and I was trying to find that book that you had. So I know you're a wealth of knowledge. That's why I want
yeah.
you to share more details.
So coming out of that was really what opened my eyes up to not only how fast technology was about to change, but for the first time, technology was going to give the VAs a real ability to do things that they could never done before for their clients. And I'm talking about, and it started off with obviously writing. You're just basically be able to write better English. Filipinos are great. They're hardworking. They're loyal. But their weakness is writing. And so that was a starting point. So I started teaching the VAs, hey, how do you use ChatGPT for writing email responses? Many of them are doing customer service work, customer success work. So that's really the journey started. But I don't think, and so I run monthly trainings for our team, and I'd say every single month, hey, look, AI is going to change the nature of what you can do, how you can serve your business. Really important that you guys learn AI. Some of them started to learn it. So I don't think initially the impact was quite there. I don't think they really connected the dots or had the vision of what was going to happen, Donna. In May, we basically created an in-house, and I started seeing that. While I was telling them, they were not everybody was picking up on the importance of becoming AI literate, as I called it back then, or AI competent back then. I'm not going to use the word expert because I don't believe, most people, are at least VA's level are experts. They're just competent at using the technology. Okay. So in May, we developed an in-house certification program. So basically a series of courses that they'd have to go through just to prove to us that they've gone through, because we can tell which VAs have gone through the course. We know that they've now taken a little bit of their time, a little bit of their initiative to go through a course, and they are AI competent, that they understand the language of prompt engineering. They know how to do the basics. And it kind of went on. They went through the course, but I still wasn't feeling that they understood the impact, the importance of what was really happening in the industry. I think they're so comfortable doing what they do. They get assigned to a client, they do the work. Because remember, at the time, not even the clients were really adopting AI rapidly. So it wasn't like the clients were saying, we want a VA that's AI trained. We were saying that, hey, client, you want to be hiring a VA that's AI competent, right? So there's a mix. There's a lot of things going on. Now, in September/October of 2023, I was going to the Philippines. Right before I left the US, I had this idea for creating an AI experiential training program. I really wanted to get the VAs to embrace what AI could do. So when I went to the Philippines, we ran a 1-day training program in person. They all came into the training, and I themed it around Harry Potter, and I called it magical outsourcing. But to get into the training, they had to basically create. They had to do the Harry Potter test. And you can see I'm a bit of a Harry Potter fan. You can see the hat back here. They had to do the Harry Potter test to see what house they were in. They had to use AI to generate an AI image of a Harry Potter type character. They had to do a face swap using another AI tool to put their face on the Harry Potter character. They had to create a audio track and then impose that on the image. And that was simply just to get into the training, right? Then on the training day itself, we had them, coming up with the new Harry Potter script, Harry Potter characters, all using AI, social media posts to promote the movie, a press release to promote the movie. So basically, hands-on practical training. Just saying to someone, hey, here's a video, go learn AI. If you don't have context, if you don't have a purpose to do it, the impact's less. So that's how we started to really get the VAs to start to really embrace AI and go, oh, okay, I can do a lot with this now. That was a starting point. So I said, so today, before a VA comes into our vetted network, we say, hey, look, you got to go through the AI training, right? And then when a client comes to us and they say, hey, we want a VA that's AI competent, we make sure that we assign a VA that's, already completed the course or about to complete the course. So that's basically where we are in terms of making sure that the VAs we work with have a certain level of competency, certain level of understanding of what AI is. Now, the challenge, Donna, though, is AI is changing so rapidly. So the course that we created back in May of last year is no longer valid. So we still have to really keep emphasizing to VAs, look, you got to spend at least a couple of hours a week, by yourself, take initiative, learn the fundamentals, learn what's new, learn about GPTs, right? So we are always doing at least once a month, we'll do a kind of a AI training on some new technology or some way that the VAs can use technology to benefit their clients.
So with you as a CEO, I was in one of your trainings or one of your presentations. The slides were awesome. The text was awesome. The communication was awesome. And you happened to mention in there that you had utilized AI and you had utilized quite a bit of AI. And I was like in the shade of stock, and so were some of the other attendees. How much time did it take you to learn something like that? Someone listening right now that's still a little leery, they've seen it a little bit, they played with it a little bit. How much time as a business owner did it take you to get to efficiency? To get an efficiency, it was just a great presentation. Let me just say it like that.
Right. So this is going to be this is an interesting question, right? Too long. And what I mean by that is that my taking time out, which was probably acceptable in the moment, but I took my eye off running a business because you can go down such a deep rabbit hole when you start to play with AI. There's writing tools, there's presentations tools, there's video tools, there's image tools, and you can go off in all kind of spiral directions, which is great. And look, I'm not saying learning is wrong. However, we have to remind ourselves as business owners, what is our principal and key role in the business, right? So whatever that is, for me, it is predominantly marketing and sales, right? So I'm driving the ship, right? So at where we are as in terms of scale of the business, I'm still predominantly driving marketing and sales, while the team, thankfully, now can take care of basically almost everything beyond that. I'm not even involved in sales, to be honest with you. It's more the marketing. It's more the networking, the connections, the speaking, doing interviews like this. That's my role. And high-level operations, high-level kind of strategy and stuff. The team takes care of everything downstream of that. The first call, the sales call, the onboarding, the matching, finance, billing, invoicing, all the stuff I don't like doing. And the reason that I failed, probably multiple times before, was because when it came to that, I was resisting doing it. I wasn't delegating that stuff out to more competent people. So presentations. The one thing that I probably spend more time on than I should is presentations. Now, thanks to AI, we can create more presentations faster. But what I really should be doing is probably, and again, this is a bit where I'm still holding on to something, is turning it over to my team. But the reason I do it is because, to me, when I do a presentation, I want to take the person viewing the presentation through an experience, not just a bunch of random slides with a bunch of random bullets. It's my thought process being delivered to the audience. So the one part that I probably do more of manually than anything else in my business is presentations, because it really is a experience from me to the person, not just stuff that's being generated by AI and something I can just teach. I could do that. I could simplify that process down, get AI to generate that, but it's kind of like that's the creative process that I like to kind of hold on to. But today, literally, you can create presentations in minutes versus hours if that's what you need to do.
Well, you're exceptional. And with that said, you made a comment that I'm kind of curious about, if you don't mind. You mentioned that you took your eye off the ball. You took your eye off the business. And that can happen sometime. You get so focused as an entrepreneur on one thing, you start missing the main business and the strategy. If you don't mind sharing with us, what happened that you realized that you were not focused and doing what you should be doing as the CEO? I'm
Yeah.
sure that's going to be a learning moment for some of our listeners and even for myself, how did you know that you needed to do a course correct?
Yeah. So as I started to speak more about AI, people start to associate me as an AI expert, which is, it's just, I was just very excited about to bring forth the latest and greatest in AI. And so as I started to speak, my talks went from how to use virtual assistants, how to build a remote team, to AI. So much so, I started to create a little bit of brand confusion. And because people started to say, "Oh, anyone can recommend an AI expert. Oh, talk to Beejel." And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm very flattered." But I wasn't ever meant to be an AI expert. And also, I had no intentions of starting an AI business. Well, that's not true. At one point, I started to even think, oh, maybe I need to be branching off and have an AI business and have a VA business. And one of the things I'm a big stickler for is that do one thing well, right? Until the point that that entity no longer needs your time. Well, my VA business is still a fledgling business. We're 4 years in, but at this we have a lot more to do. And it's so easy to so again, I needed to learn, I needed to know what's happening in AI to help this business. But what's happening was I was basically becoming more of an AI person than sticking to my roots. And I realized, when I was looking back at the end of the year, when you do kind of reflections, hey, if I could go back and do something different, what would it be? It'd be, hey, I'd talk about AI, but more in context of what others can be doing for you with AI, not in terms of, hey, look how great AI is, not teaching AI, but teaching what can be done with AI with remote team members. So a small minor thing. So it wasn't like I went off in a completely different direction, but it was still enough to take my attention, take my eye off the ball, in my opinion.
So as you transitioned in this space with the AI, the virtual assistants, the number, the call centers, the operations, something more high level, and AI came into play, did you really start seeing a difference in regards that with the time spent with customers? Can you talk about some of the efficiencies that may have changed or the effectiveness that may have come into play that you recognize that, wow, AI, everybody's nervous about it. But for you and your virtual assistants, you increased operations. It added more jobs and wasn't the same thing they were doing before. Can you speak about those positives in a way that
Yeah.
everybody
So
can really grab onto that and say, yeah, I might need to really look into this?
yeah. So look, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different AI tools out there. I mean, maybe you can probably trim it down to, okay, what are your 5 to 10 essentials that most businesses could basically benefit from? The point being that we have to first and foremost understand what is our role in the business, right? So whatever business the listener, the listeners are working on, what is the best use of our time in that business? Is it to learn AI or is it something else? Right. So when I look at AI, I look at it from two perspectives. What can our VAs learn and then use to benefit the clients? And how do we integrate AI into our business? So I'm going to talk about our business first. So it's improved efficiency, it's improved productivity, it's improved our ability to basically say, okay, we want to create a series of emails rather than either paying a copywriter, thousands of dollars, or sitting there and looking at blank sheets of paper, like, well, how do I write emails? It can be done within minutes, right? Newsletters. And once I basically figure out, okay, this is the prompts to use, I can turn it over to my VAs, the team, who can then use the prompts, use the systems, use the software to generate the results, right? Everything from video shorts, which we're not doing, everything from email copy, newsletter writing, writing responses to customers, handling, if we had to create, sometimes we get upset clients, like every business, right? The client, oh, this happened, the VA. So the AI gives us the ability to better handle the complaints, better reply to the clients, right? We can create, the VAs can create, now they're switching over to the VAs now. They can create emails, social media images, edit videos much faster. They can create newsletters for their clients. They can create processes for their clients. They can do research with AI, right? They can help write ebooks, guides. I mean, the list is literally endless of what they can do. But it goes back to the role of the business owner. Is the role to become an AI expert, or is the role to run the business and hire people? Doesn't have to be VAs, hire people who can use the tools to produce the end result. This is where the term productivity comes in, right? If we go off and start to spend all our time becoming AI experts, which is nothing, no harm in that, is the business still producing what it needs to produce, which is either growth, revenue, sales, and ultimately profits. So I come back to, okay, what is pulling you away? What is taking your attention away from producing the end result? If it's AI, if AI is pulling you away from that, how soon can you get back to using what you've learned to produce the result, right? So that's kind of where our tenet is. And to me, if I know what I need to produce as a result, I know my role in that. I know who I need to bring into the team to help me produce that result, and they can use the tools to become more efficient, more productive, and hopefully increase our profits by doing so.
Boy, that's really interesting. So as you've grown in this space and AI and the virtual assistants, your clients, have you seen a shift in the type of clients you're getting or from the certain countries? And were there any nuances you had to really adapt to or have your virtual assistants be aware of in order to keep the client satisfied as they moved into the new artificial intelligence and utilizing it in their business?
I wouldn't say the type of client has changed. I definitely think we're attracting more seasoned clients, but I think what I'm seeing is a more aware entrepreneur, like entrepreneurs that are now coming to us. They're more aware of what AI can do. They're more aware of AI. They're more aware of what VAs might be able to do using AI. So there's a certain level of maturity that I've seen just across the board. There's a certain level of there's been a jump in intellect. I'm not saying that people are stupid. What I'm saying is that people are thinking differently about now and in the future than they were, say, 12 months ago or at the beginning of 2023, right? So I think there's been an almost a global conscious upgrade in how people are thinking about technology and what that might do for them in the future. And with that, a certain amount of fear as well. It's not all good news. There is some fear and concern in the industry all around as well. Although a lot of people prefer not to talk about it, I think it's as relevant to be aware that it's there.
So you're reading my mind. You're reading my mind because I was getting ready to start asking about governance, or I've had some conversations with guests about ethics, morals, feeding human elements into AI. But based on your exposure, especially with the amount of data you probably have and the amount of information you have from the customer and from the virtual assistants and just your business, let's just call it your operations. What is it that you see that concerns you that's not being spoken about? Can you share some of that with us? Maybe it is called fear, but I've always said you've got good and bad actors in everything. And in AI, there's the good and the bad. Can you share with us some of the bad so we can have a heads up or eyebrow raised on what's going on?
Yeah, look, you've got people becoming overnight experts because they can now create courses, videos, books on pretty much any topic if they put their mind to it, right? So you've got people who are, producing content without true authority behind that, right? I'm not saying that's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying that that's just the reality of where we are. We've got, people who have got very little to no business expertise now are becoming business experts. You've got people who are, becoming overnight coaches, right? Because of the acceleration of learning and stuff. So there is that part. Now people say, well, that's just technology. That's good technology enabling that. Okay, look, we're all entitled to opinions. At the end of the day, if it's a human-to-human relationship, I want to know that I'm talking to somebody who genuinely has experience in that thing, right? But again, fake gurus and wannabe gurus and hey, look at how great my sports car is. Look at my mansion. Look at my jet aircraft. Look, they've been around before AI. They'll be around long after AI, right? Or is AI is giving them the ability to do more than they could ever done before in influencing people. So I see there's two sides. There's how we are using AI or how people are choosing to use AI, and there's kind of a lack of awareness. People kind of fall for things, without really doing their due diligence. I mean, there's been, as you know, even in Web3, a lot of Ponzi schemes, a lot of scammy things are out there. People have lost literally millions, if not billions of dollars being washed away in platforms that didn't really do anything, right? So that level of quick, fast money is nothing to do with AI. That's basically human greed, human naivety, and frankly, at some levels, human stupidity, right? And I'm guilty of it too. So I'm not naming anyone. I've done all of those things. So, but when it comes to true, genuine concern, we've got to look at some practical things. There are going to be job losses. The whole thing, there's always been job losses. There'll be new jobs. Yeah, but I don't believe that the new jobs will be created anywhere in the volume of the jobs that are going to be lost, right? And personally, right? A lot of my agents come out of the call center industry. I mean, I've been hearing demos of voice technology that is going to decimate that industry, in my opinion, right? Now, some of them are going to become VAs, which is great for me. I got more talent to pull from, right? But we're talking about massive potential job losses in countries like India, in Philippines, in South America, where call center industry has really emerged as a provider of jobs, right? A lot of these positions, I believe 80 to 90% is going to be probably replaced with AI technology. It's there. The technology is not coming. It's already here, to the point when we get a person, who comes to us and says, hey, I need a voice agent, I'm going to say, you might want to look at AI technology before you hire a Filipino. That's how good it is. We are even now promoting that ahead of a Filipino getting on a phone call.
I got to ask you this question. Those who really know me, I came out of the airline industry. I know the call centers in and out. As an agent, the telephony that used to be decades ago, and the different call centers we had internationally. So if I understand what you're saying, all those people, and the call centers did start moving overseas out of the US, and they started moving around. So are you saying that there's AI out there now? I heard this, I read about it recently, but it's already here, that those positions, jobs, booking reservations or flights, or maybe even in the mobile industry, but all those industries that operate on call centers, you're saying AI is going to have that type of impact on them?
Yeah, and I don't know. I just want to talk about it, Donna. Let's. I'm going to call one up right now. I don't know if it'll come through, but let's just really give someone an understanding of where things are at right
Yeah,
now.
that would be
Right.
exciting.
So I'm going to just make sure I've got the right number. Otherwise I'll be calling a friend and trying
Okay.
to explain what we're doing. So give me a second to find the
Okay.
right.
I'm going to pause it. Okay, so you said you were going to call somebody with the AI. Can you? Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's do it.
This is Boss AI. How can we help you use AI like a boss?
Yeah, I'm a consultant. I help companies adopt Web3 technologies. I also run a podcast. Would you be able to do like an outbound campaign for me, reaching out to business owners and promoting the use of Web3 technology and AI technology for those companies?
Oh, for sure. That's right up our alley. We can totally set up an outbound campaign for you. We'll reach out to business owners and chat about the cool stuff you're doing with Web3 and AI. So, like, what's your podcast about? Must be pretty interesting diving into all that techie stuff, huh?
Yeah. So I love to interview business owners, technology companies, startup companies that are adopting Web3 technology, AI into their businesses. So I want to reach out and invite them to be a guest on the podcast, but also then to reach out to other companies and actually tell them about the work we are doing, helping companies integrate these technologies. So would you be able to kind of reach out and actually have a conversation with businesses that are using Web3 technology?
Yeah, totally. That sounds awesome. We can definitely reach out to businesses using Web3 tech and get them interested in your podcast. Plus, we can chat them up about the work you're doing to help companies integrate these technologies. It's all about making connections, right?
Yeah. So let me just interrupt you for a second here. When I say Web3, what does that mean to you? I want to see if you have a level of competency in talking about Web3 to my prospective clients.
Oh, gotcha there. So when you're talking about Web3, you're usually talking about the next phase of the internet, right? It's all about a more decentralized web where blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs come into play. It's like taking power away from the big central players and giving more control to the users. It's pretty cutting edge stuff with smart contracts and all that jazz. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, but when I want you to reach out, I want you to have a more professional tone. So I don't want you to be kind of using words like jazz, and we're reaching out to business owners that might be running multi-million-dollar businesses. So can you adopt a more professional tone, friendly, conversational, but more professional?
Yeah, I feel that we can keep it professional and still make it sound natural. When we reach out to these business owners, we'll talk about how Web3 is reshaping the digital landscape, focusing on the benefits of decentralization, enhanced security, and the potential for greater user empowerment. We'll make sure to communicate the value you bring in helping businesses navigate and integrate these technologies. How's that sound for a more professional approach?
Yeah, that sounds great. And if someone's interested to talk to one of my team members or myself, can you then look at my calendar and then recommend different time slots to have the conversation?
Yeah, for sure. That's something we can do. If someone's interested, we'll take a look at your calendar and suggest some time slots that work for you. We'll make sure it's all synced up so you can have that conversation without any hassle. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that sounds great. Hey, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
No problem at all. Happy to help out. If you've got any more questions or need anything else, just give us a shout. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Wow. Thank you, Beejel. Now, this was definitely a learning moment for me, but go ahead, finish talking, honey, and let us understand what you have accomplished, done, and a very big impact with me and you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, that's where technology is done. So now, we're at a place where I'm replacing some of the positions that we would have normally, provided a VA for with technology, which I think is actually superior. Right. So, I sent a message to my team last week and said, hey guys, if you are a voice agent and you're looking for voice work, I've got some bad news for you, right? I think you need to relearn, reskill, retool yourself in other areas, because I think voice is going to go away real soon, right? Especially now that this technology, which was kind of a little bit expensive for small businesses to integrate, it's now come down to the price point where a business could basically, for the cost of a mastermind or a coaching program, integrate voice at that level into their business.
Wow. Boy, this was an excellent example on how far, and that was an excellent response to my question. So with that said, I know the listeners are now sitting on the edge of their seats, understanding the impact of AI, but the opportunity that's available not only to them personally, but to their businesses. And they may want to talk to you or have you talk to their mastermind or just utilize your business for the excellent VAs you have. How do they reach out to you? How do they connect with you?
Yeah, look, if anyone's interested to learn more about what we do and how we're different, remember we're a no markup fee model. So all of our clients actually pay the VAs directly. What we do is we basically bridge the gap. We know the issues that people have in hiring VAs, building remote teams, and we've created a very holistic solution. But if you go to BeeEPiC Outsourcing, literally it's on my shirt here, BeeEPiC Outsourcing. All right. Just remember the color yellow. Remember the bees. The VAs are the busy bees that do the busy work that we resist doing, we hate doing, we should not be doing. And then we learn to be epic. Epic is efficiency, being efficient with our time, productive, producing the results we want to produce. I stands for being intentional about our commitment to the future, and C represents being completional. Completional is a word I made up because I recognize I start a lot of things, but don't actually complete them. So we want to help people complete, their vision, complete their goals, so they can actually run their businesses far better than they may have been. So just BeeEPiC Outsourcing. There's a video on the homepage that can basically gives you a background about who we are, what we do, our ethics, our values, and of course our pricing. And if we're a good match for you, then please, contact us through the website.
Well, Beejel, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to even have you on Pivoting to Web3. I'm sure that our audiences are going to enjoy this episode. And thank you for listening to Pivoting to Web3, where we're shaping tomorrow together.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to Pivoting to Web3 at pivotingtoweb3.com. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so that it gets to you with every episode that comes out. We have lots of great opportunities, limitations, and downward spirals being revealed by our guests. And thank you in advance for all your reviews and comments. I appreciate you so much. I look forward to serving you in the next week's episode.